I'm Angie Gonzalez with the New York 1 Minute. Maya Wiley lands a major endorsement in the race for mayor. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she will rank Wiley #1 on her ballot. She says that Wiley understands the importance of grassroots movements and has dedicated her life to justice. Ocasio-Cortez says she may announce candidates to rank after Wiley in the coming days. Police are looking for a driver after a 16-year-old bicyclist is hit by a car in the College Point section of Queens. He's now fighting for his life. And just a few hours later in Forest Hills, a 10-year-old boy was hit by a car while walking down the street. He's in critical condition. That driver did stay at the scene. Nearly 170 million Americans have received at least one vaccination dose. Now, here in the city, the positivity rate continues to decline. It's now at 0.75%. And it's the first true beach weekend of the summer. Temperatures are expected to hit 90 degrees both days this weekend. We'll have more on those stories in just a moment, but first a look at the forecast. It's time now for your weather on the ones. Skies are going to be mostly sunny across the 5 boroughs, and it's also going to feel like summer. Afternoon highs are going to soar into the low 90s with hazy, hot, and humid conditions being felt. Now for tonight, skies are going to be mostly clear, keeping us on the dry side. Temperatures are going to remain warm as they only drop into the low 70s. It's going to be a good night to test out those AC units. Sunday is going to be sunny and hot once again. It's also going to be humid with highs expected to climb into the 90s for the second straight day. Our extended forecast keeps that hazy, hot, and humid weather around right through the middle of the week. Some relief is possible in the form of showers and storms for Wednesday and Thursday. Your next weather check comes in 10 minutes. Many New Yorkers are taking advantage of this sunny and steamy forecast, and they're heading to the beach. New York 1's Alyssa Palicelli caught up with beachgoers in the Rockaways. Police are looking for the driver who struck a 16-year-old bicyclist in a hit and run in Queens. Now you can see the scene late last night in this Citizen app video. Officers tell us that the teen was struck at around 10 o'clock in the evening in College Point, near College Point Boulevard and 15th Avenue. He sustained heavy head trauma and was transported to Jacoby Medical Center, where he's now fighting for his life. We're told that the driver was in a blue sedan that you can actually see in the video. They got out of the vehicle and then allegedly ran away on foot. So far, no arrests have been made. And just 2 hours earlier in Forest Hills, a 10-year-old boy was hit by a car. He was walking on 110th Street near Jewel Avenue. That's when a Honda CR-V driving eastbound on Jewel hit him. Now, police tell us that the boy was alone at the time. He is now in critical condition, suffering from head trauma. Investigators also say that the 21-year-old driver did stay at the scene. They do not expect there to be any criminality at this time. The state police department is facing scrutiny over racial disparities within the agency, with officers not reflecting New York's diverse population. The Associated Press reports that of more than 4,700 troopers, only 4% are black and 6% are Hispanic. This despite constituting 16% and 19% of the state population, respectively. Several minority troopers also told the AP that discrimination has flourished within the ranks, despite the agency having been ordered to diversify by a judge back in the 1970s. New York is also not the only state police force far whiter than its state population. In fact, all 38 state police departments that provided demographic data to the AP had a disproportionately high number of white troopers when compared to each state's population. Landmarks across the city and throughout the U.S. are lit up in orange in support of gun violence awareness and prevention. Orange has been the defining color of the anti-gun violence movement since the color was worn by friends of a 15-year-old who was killed. She was killed in Chicago back in 2013, just 1 week after performing at President Obama's second inaugural parade. Now here in the city, in honor of Wear Orange Weekend, Grand Central Terminal and the Kosciuszko Bridge are among the sites that are being illuminated to honor gun violence victims. Elsewhere in the country, the Washington National Cathedral was lit in orange and rang its bell 120 times to honor the number of Americans who die on average from gun violence every day. Florida's Tampa City Hall was lit up as well to show its support for the cause. Coronavirus numbers continue to drop across the city and state. The 7-day average statewide positivity rate is now 0.54%. Hospitalizations have dropped below 900, marking the lowest level since last October. 14 New Yorkers died from the virus yesterday. Meanwhile, over 91,000 vaccine doses have been administered in the last 24 hours. In the city, the average COVID positivity rate is 0.75%, with 215 new cases and 72 hospitalizations. Pop-up vaccine sites at MTA stations have administered more than 15,000 doses to date. The sites at Penn Station and Grand Central Terminal have now been extended for another week. The CDC says that nearly 170 million Americans have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is about 51% of the total population. Now, when it comes to Americans 12 and older who are eligible for the vaccine, 60% have received at least one shot and 49% are fully vaccinated. Now, this comes as Dr. Anthony Fauci says it's going to be challenging but possible to reach President Biden's vaccination goal for the next month. He wants 70% of adults to have received at least one shot, and right now we're at 63%. Meanwhile, Fauci is responding to Republicans who are calling for his resignation after a trove of his emails were recently made public. Some GOP lawmakers accuse the infectious disease expert of being warned that the virus emerged from a lab in Wuhan, China, while publicly dismissing the possibility. Fauci yesterday said that the emails are being taken out of context. He called Republicans' interpretations of them, quote, profoundly misleading. Biden, meanwhile, said he is still very confident in his chief medical advisor. A major endorsement for mayoral candidate Maya Wiley, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announcing today that she's going to rank Wiley #1 on her ballot for mayor.
It's so important that we come together as a movement and rank Maya #1. Because if we don't come together as a movement, we will get a New York City built by and for billionaires.
Not surprisingly, that we share the same priorities, principles, and concerns. So I'm just thrilled to have such a courageous Congresswoman endorsing me in this race and making clear that I'm the progressive who can win this and will win this.
Now, given the new ranked choice voting system, Ocasio-Cortez said that she may announce other candidates to rank after Wiley in the coming days. Early voting starts in just 1 week. The progressive wing of the party only recently coalesced around Wiley, who has been lagging in the polls. A woman on Staten Island is giving back to the kids in her community that rallied around her as her husband battled cancer. New York One's Victoria Manna caught up with them. The lights are soon going to shine bright again on Broadway, and in just a few months, we're going to get a preview of the first show to reopen since the pandemic shut it all down. It's called Passover, and our Frank DeLella sat down with the playwright for an exclusive interview. That's all for this half hour of news. Thanks so much for joining us. Shannon Ferry's up next with today's top stories and your weather on the one, so stay tuned.